So A-Rod, though, he would always be the last one out. He would walk out with my dad. They would come out together.
It's amazing.
And sometimes my dad would say, and this happened a lot, like I say sometimes, I don't know how many times, but he would be like, girls, come on. And he would take us in the clubhouse, and we would go and watch Alex take BP in the batting cage after the game.
Right.
And he wanted, and the reason he did that, and he said, I want you to see what it takes to be as good as he is.
Drives one, deep left field, that goes up to, back near the wall, it's out of here! The impossible has happened!
שלום וברוכים הבאים לאי כושר הוטדוג, פודקאסט הבייסבול הראשון בעברית עם יוני לב-ארי ואנוכי ארז שעד. שלום יוני.
מה העניינים ארז?
בסדר יוני, משדר 253, 2 ועוד 3 שווה 5.
נכון, זה נכון.
והוא מגיע אליכם, נחש?
בחסות תת רש.
מסחר ויבוא עצים.
כל העצים.
כל סוגי, אין פה עץ אחד.
לא, פה פחות, נכון.
כן.
שם.
טוב, כל סוגי העצים מכל רחבי העולם ובאיכות יוצאת דופן.
נכון.
בקרו אותנו.
איפה?
כן, זה הכימיה הנהדרת בינינו. אני מדבר ואתה עוד שנייה נרדם.
מה פתאום?
בהחלט. דרך בן צבי 20 ביפו.
נכון.
או באינטרנט, אימא.co.il, או סימה.co.il, גם יש לומר, כי המחירים שלנו הם לא בדיחת קרש. יופי. בטח שמתם לב, חדי העין מביניכם, חדי האוזן מביניכם לא שמו לב לכלום.
אולי כן, היו
לא יודע,
צחקוקים.
היו צחקוקים,
כן.
שאנחנו לא לבד היום.
נכון.
ועל כן תגידו יפה יפה שלום, יוני.
שלום.
לקאלי מיטצ'ל. Hello, Kali.
Hi.
So we're gonna do it in English. How's your Hebrew, by the way?
Oh, it's not so good.
Can
it's
you,
okay.
What can you say? It's like the Israelis. What can you say? Do you know shalom?
I know shalom. No, it's okay, but it's not great.
Some curses.
Okay. And the reason we have you here is twofold. One, because you are a baseball kid. How would you call it? Another baseball. Your family is in baseball.
Yes.
I mean, your dad, which we can see on the picture over there, is actually he doesn't. This is not a Photoshop.
No.
He was actually wearing
No AI.
angel.
No
No
AI.
AI.
No AI.
He was actually. What is your father's name?
Jerry Narin.
Jerry Narin,
Yes.
and he has actually a profile in Baseball Reference.
Yes.
He actually did baseball.
And is doing baseball.
Well,
When he will be in Israel, we'll have the first time we're hosting somebody who's in Baseball Reference.
Yes. So my dad, Jerry Narin, he's been in professional baseball now for 51 years. He was drafted by the Yankees in
Yay.
1974, straight
which
out of high
immediately
school.
transferred into.
After that, he went to the Mariners for a while in Yankees
As a player,
history.
he was a catcher.
Yes, he was a catcher.
All right. So, but before we do that, we're gonna have to.
Is there any birthdays today?
Napla Joy. Which pitcher won all their games with one team?
Oh.
Oh,
So
wow.
all wins, one team. Was it Cy Young?
I don't
Was
think
it
so.
Christy Mathewson? Was it Walter Johnson? It's very ancient
Yeah, I can see
history.
that.
Or was it Pete Alexander? So which one of those did win all their game with one team?
Kali?
I'm just going to guess. I don't know. I'm going to say Walter.
That's a good guess, actually.
Okay.
That's a very good guess.
It's kind of,
I would say I would definitely think it's not Cy Young because Cy Young moved from the infamous Cleveland Spiders
And
to
we have a award after him, so clearly he had to win, right?
well, he won like 500 of them, but I think he did it with different teams.
Yeah.
Christy Madison was a giant, but I think he moved.
You do?
Yes, and I have no idea about Pete Alexander. It wasn't my time to watch over him. So Walton Johnson sounds really good,
pretty
actually.
good
I have
informed
to say.
guess.
And so
right?
now we have to pick something else.
Yeah. So you only pick one. You can pick Cy Young if you want.
I'll go with Pete Alexander.
You go with Alexander. So I'm
Yes.
taking the Christian gentleman. Me, Christy Madison. Hopefully didn't move.
Okay.
So that's
the
out
end.
of the way. Let's talk about
Okay.
the fun stuff. So your dad, and I have to say because I read his. I remember two things about your dad. The first one is that he named all his kids starting with a C.
Yes.
Now,
Why is that?
Because he couldn't do it with a K because he wasn't a pitcher.
Oh.
So he did with a C because he was a catcher.
Roger Clemens did it, right?
Yeah, Roger Clemens named all his kids with a K
Okay,
because
yeah.
he was the K
And
master.
he was a catcher, so he put C.
No, seriously, why?
Well, I think it just...
Nothing wrong with that, by the way. I mean, it's kind of solves half the problem. You know which letter to look for.
Right. So I think it happened kind of accidentally at first, and then it became intentional
Like
because
after
there's
the third.
right because there's 5 of us,
Look
and so
what I
like
did.
What happened to your dad? What day was that?
What day? No.
What date? Come on, you're supposed to remember those things.
the reason
79?
why my dad is the answer to a trivia question.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yes. Okay, so my dad, he was drafted by the Yankees in 1974, and he worked his way up, and he made his debut with the Yankees. He did debut in 77,
Oh.
but it was after the deadline, so he didn't get to go to the World Series with them. So I remember now.
So no ring.
Yeah, right, no ring. Yeah,
Okay.
so he missed out on that, but...
They can give him to him. But
I mean, he contributed, but he didn't get the ring. So he's really known by Yankee fans because he was a catcher, and he was Thurman Munson's backup catcher when Thurman Munson tragically died in a plane crash. He was very young. He was 23, and I think he really...
he died in August, 2nd of August, 1979.
79, okay. So my dad was raised really well, and he handled that moment like a class act, and I think it just really endeared him to a lot of Yankee fans.
You were
And
close friends?
with Thurman,
Yeah.
I wasn't born yet, but he was close friends with Thurman, and I have, in my adult life, I've actually reached out to Thurman's son and checked in on him because our stories are so intertwined. You know, it's hard to talk about my dad's playing career without talking about the Munsons and their story.
Of course.
And so,
What your dad did, from what I understood, when the players were announced, he didn't took the field.
right,
So what happens is that you have before each game, and we don't see it usually. All the players stand on the lines, and they announce. They step on the lines. They have the 2 line of players, and the anthem is sung, and then they move. But because he didn't come up to the field, there was like a man missing.
Free
So
spot.
the Yankees side had like few people. Then you have a hole, and every fan thought this was the perfect. I mean, unfortunately, as the gestures go, this was the perfect gesture, and it really takes something. It's not something you think about because,
Right.
again, this is like you don't. Baseball is such a game of habit that you usually have to think about doing something different.
you have to be intentional if you're going to do it differently than what the norm is.
And it's pretty amazing.
So-
Did your dad ever speak of that decision
you know
or
what?
that
I've
moment?
never talked with him about what he was experiencing.
Yes, you're gonna
I
have a
probably
scoop for
should
next
sometime,
time.
but like I've never sat and been like, "So, Daddy, what were you thinking and feeling?" But I just know my grandparents they were people who had a lot of honor and integrity and really valued treating others well, and I did not see that footage until a few years ago at the anniversary of Thurman Munson's death. I heard this story my whole life, and in elevators, people talking into it. My mom being like, "We're traveling with baseball team. Who's your husband? Jerry Darren. Oh, Thurman Munson's back." Just hearing the story all the time, and it wasn't until the anniversary of Thurman's passing a few years ago that I watched the video on YouTube, and I was just blown away watching it. I think I was maybe 39, 40, I'm 42 now. And thinking about my dad, he's my dad, so,
Yeah.
thinking about him as being a young man, just 23, and being under that pressure in Yankee Stadium with that 30,000, 40,000 people. Everyone's just broken because this was just very tragic and sudden. And for him to have the character and the strength as such a young man to make that decision, I just am, to this day, I'm really mind blown. And
Well, yeah,
just
it's always this idea that there's something in that because you are expected to come every day and perform because every heat can be your grand slam, every heat can be your thing, and usually it doesn't.
Right.
So you always have this tendency for greatness. Not everybody, but baseball tend to give us a lot of great moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and it's fortunate or unfortunate that your dad was part of that. But he then moved to the Mariners. He then moved to. Were you ever there when he got traded or when he moved? Because that's another thing we don't understand. It's like, it's June 12th. Kids, we're moving to the East Coast. We're moving to the West Coast. We're moving to Texas.
Yeah, no,
And
this
it's not
happened.
like moving to from Yafo to Ramat Aviv Gimel.
That's their Yafo.
Right.
Texas is their Yafo.
Okay, never mind. So
I loved
were
it
you
when we were in
ever?
Texas.
Did you? I mean, that's you in the picture, by the
Yes,
way.
that's me when I was 3 years old in 1986, and it was on Sports Illustrated. So
My goodness.
it was featured in Sports Illustrated. So
goodness.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the Israel baseball community that's been in Sports Illustrated. So
Until
this is
Alon
my
likes
challenge.
Until
Yeah,
I don't like
okay, Alone, you got to do it, and we got to get some kids growing up, and
I don't know if it's
Take
in
it-
Israeli
take it.
baseball or in Israel, period. I don't think we had any athletes on Sports Illustrated cover.
well,
So now we do.
this is the challenge.
This is
Everybody's going to see if they can top my 3-year-old Sports Illustrated.
Amazing picture.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, this is
I'm
family
getting,
day.
okay.
So basically, like, to answer your question, so we would, the baseball was life. We had 4 seasons in growing up, and they weren't summer, spring, winter, and fall. Our 4 seasons were the baseball season, postseason, off season, and spring training, and that is how we oriented our family life, how we made decisions about extracurricular activities that we did, how we traveled, how we handled school. And so this is how just our world operated growing up. And we would become like family with the families on the other teams. So when I was little, he was playing with the Angels, and we went up to Calgary, I think the summer before he decided to retire, or maybe it was Rochester, I can't remember. So he retired from playing when I was 5, just before kindergarten, Gan Hova. That was his last year playing, and then he switched over and started managing in the minor leagues with the Orioles. So we worked our way back up with the Orioles, and every year we were basically with a different minor league team. And
Yeah, but-
it was close by.
But at least
was,
it's not like the idea that you may not end the school year in the same school you
that's
started in the
off-season
same
usually.
city.
so we
In the
stayed.
minor league, it's more 1 year at a time.
Yeah, it was basically, but we stayed at home. Like, we did our school in our home in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and then we would travel for baseball. So with the Orioles, it was mostly Virginia and Maryland and Rochester, New York.
Close by.
So he played in Rochester and he managed in Rochester.
The
And
Rochester was the Orioles minor league team
Triple
at
A,
the time.
yeah, Red Wings. I would have lived in Rochester
Something
forever. But the next year, we were in Baltimore. So he got called up to Baltimore. Johnny Oates was the manager. And so and Doug Melvin was the GM. And so he he coached third base in Baltimore for 2 years. The very first game when we got to Baltimore, President Bill Clinton threw out the first pitch. I was 10. I had my
good.
Polaroid camera, and I'm like taking pictures of little teeny tiny Bill Clinton. But it was super exciting. And then go back to school and show everyone this picture of Bill, like tiny. And
Right, started school.
yeah, but Baltimore was just a 5-hour drive from us, so we were back
Yeah.
and forth a lot.
Yeah, it's like
And I loved it. Like, I'm an architect now. I'm Jerusalem RD, and I'm also an architect. So I loved Camden Yards.
what is an
So,
RD, by the way?
Regional director.
Thank
so
you.
I am.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
No,
we'll get
no,
there.
it's okay because
Yeah.
you're gonna say RD a lot, and
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna say
like,
RD a lot, so it's good to define our terms,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I love Baltimore. I love Camden Yards. Just even little, I loved architecture. I love the warehouse and the way they built
it's-
this
it's-
downtown ballpark, and it felt just
Building, the big building.
beautiful, right? And being able to walk around the harbor.
So it's
So-
good architecture is architecture even idiots can understand.
Yes,
So
so-
and everybody who comes to Camden Yard says, okay, this is different. This is
right.
This
like
is good. This
retro
is
feel that it had about it. I loved it. Like I was so little, but I still knew
it
this is
basically
special.
changed the way stadiums were built. I mean, up until then, they did the big stadiums, the cookie cutters, the circle ones that you can do baseball, football, and all of a sudden, this guy, I think this woman, I don't remember her name, she came and she said, "No, we're gonna do it like it's part of the pier, part of the industrial zone, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be different." And everybody like, "Oh, that's how you're supposed to do it."
Right.
And so it was really a momentous moment.
Seriously. It was huge.
So basically you stayed in North Carolina and you would drive to the games, or
so we would stay in North Carolina until school was out, but Baltimore was close enough that we would drive for long weekends or even short weekends. We would drive, and sometimes the whole extended family, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles and cousins, we would get caravan. So it was a fun time. And then after school was out, we would go stay the whole summer, and we literally went to a baseball game every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, every single day. But I was very attached to Baltimore. I loved it. And then Doug Melvin got fired. And
So you're an Orioles fan, okay.
we don't know.
These guys are trying to figure out my favorite team. And
Well, only because it's a secret. I don't.
My favorite team is a secret. You guys will never know.
It's
So-
the Orioles, okay.
but so you're watching your dad. Now you're let's say your conscience of what happens.
Yeah.
He's a coach, but he's third base coach, which is very important because if he windmills a guy and he gets caught, that's on him, supposedly. I think.
It was fun. It was
So,
fun to watch him.
I mean-
and he taught us the signs. I knew his signs. And
Oh,
so,
you knew the signs?
Yeah, and so sometimes I would try to watch
He's
him.
gonna steal. He's gonna go home.
I would try to do. I
that
never
was-
knew what his indicator was because he would have an indicator before he would start his
Right,
signs,
right.
and he would tell the guys the indicator before the game, so I wouldn't know the
They
indicator.
would
but
change the indicator.
Oh,
that's
but
brilliant.
sometimes I would sit and I would be like, I'm going to see if I can figure out his indicator, and I'm going to see if I can figure out his signs. So that was something you go to the game every single day, and you kind of have to like find new ways to experience.
Yeah, I mean that's obvious
so-
because if you know, eventually, I mean the whole idea to anyone who doesn't know, the baseball signs is like when the coach start dancing the Macarena. So it's like doing all this
right,
movement.
and then he might do the indicator like the brim of his hat, and then
Right,
and
so
then he
the
would-
idea is like he's doing a lot of stuff, and
Right.
then he touches something, like you said, touch the brim of his hat, touch the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the indicator. Now we're supposed to, I don't know, count or what did he do? Did he count?
It was
move?
accounting. Like,
Or like-
once you see this, you start counting how many.
So sometimes it's
Daddy, I
like.
hope it's okay. I'm telling people this.
Yeah. So
big secret.
and if the idea, if he makes a mistake, he would usually wipe it
Yes,
and start
he
anew,
would wipe it.
which
His
is
was
kind of
his
fun.
belt. Like, he would wipe his
because
belt.
it's so funny
Yeah.
because everybody says and the wipe is sign is different, and every player goes, no, it's not. It's always the same.
And we
Everybody
would,
knows
It's a wipe sign.
and so he would do this at home. Like, he would practice his
And you
signs
have
on
to
us, and we
change
would
it
have
because
to
the
tell
other
him
team is watching you, and every time they said, have you noticed that every time he does the elbow, it's a bunt? So you have to change
it up, right?
And it's like counting, or it's I do the indicator, and then I do two elbows, and now we start so it's really fun, and so you had that fun. But was this when a player would reach home, you would say, well, my dad sent you, that's why you got it.
Yeah.
It's or did you were like, I just sitting on the edge of the seat, I just hope dad doesn't do the wrong call. What,
I was never too worried about it. It was more just fun to watch him jump around and, like,
take cover when the ball was going over him and stuff.
yeah, it was fun.
Okay, that's good because baseball should be fun.
Right. So basically, though, like Doug Melvin, he was with the Orioles for 2 years in big leagues, and Doug Melvin got fired, and Johnny Oates got fired, and
Not good seasons, I guess.
yeah, I guess not. So
The Baltimore lost their oats.
Right. They lost their oats. So they were all fired, and of course that meant that the coaching staff all had to go too. And I remember when he got the call, I was just devastated. I was so sad because it became like a second home. And it was what?
Was he sad?
Oh, yeah, he was sad. But you know what, guys?
Yeah,
in
but
baseball, you
that's-
get fired.
Yeah.
And he knew that. Like,
Again,
that's...
they're wired
Something
differently.
else will come.
Yeah,
You notice
and-
they're wired differently. They
Yeah.
think
You know that getting fired is part of the game, and if you're going to make it, you have to cope with that, and you have to move forward.
It's
So,
like we talked
you know.
before the game that you can be a fan, you can be a Yankees fan, and then get drafted by the Red Sox. That's okay. That's where I'm gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is. That's the thing. You think
Oh.
you're thinking as a fan.
Yeah, that's why
They are
that's why I
wired-
never went to play.
They are wired differently. Their brains become differently wired. That's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, and you
that's
have to
why
cope,
they're
and
like,
you have to like persevere and
You
be
know,
an
they-
overcomer and not a victim, and be like,
Yeah.
baseball is a game where guys fail more than they succeed, and getting fired as a coach is part of that.
yeah.
So,
I was talking to
Yeah.
Mike Moritz when he came
yeah.
here. Yeah, and he's and I tell him like, you're gonna fail, and it's like, I never fail. I mean, it doesn't register because he always thinks about how I can succeed.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna fail 7 times out of 10. Well, hopefully, this day and age you don't
Yeah,
get
that's
that.
a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, but it doesn't think about it because it's
Think about the other three.
exactly that's amazing. And
Mike Moritz is actually my assistant in Jerusalem.
oh yeah, you live in he lives in Jerusalem
Yes.
as well. Oh,
I
he's
love
He's
Mike.
been
He
here
was
like
a-
2 months ago.
yeah.
Doug Melvin got hired by the Texas Rangers,
All
and he
right.
brought everyone, the whole crew, Johnny Oates, my dad. That's where Bucky Dent. We were talking about Bucky Dent
Because
earlier.
it worked
Bucky
really
Dent.
good in Baltimore. Let's do it in Texas.
But it actually worked in Texas because
Oh.
we had a great run. We were there,
We're
I think,
talking
9 years
2000.
through the 90s. I think our first year was 95.
All
I was
right.
in 7th grade, so it was
so
the
you just
summer for
moved
7th
to
grade.
Texas.
Yeah, we all kind of relocated to Texas together, and
It was during winter, I guess. It was the...
well, we didn't move there. I told you already. We stayed in North Carolina, and the
Yeah.
Oates family, they live in Virginia, and so we all would just drive or fly or whatever and go to Texas. And so we were all in Texas together. It was a big happy family again, and we had a lot of success. They were in Texas for. I think my dad was there 9 years. Mr. Oates, he ended up having to retire because he had brain cancer. He was on that Phillies team where like 9 guys all had the same brain cancer.
Ooh.
I don't know if you're familiar with this
Something in
story.
the stadium.
They don't know. They think it was something with the stadium. They don't know if it was the
joking.
turf or it was built on an old chemical
Oh.
dump site. They don't know what it is. What?
You remember other names?
I don't know, but you can find documentaries about this on YouTube. But yeah, Mr. Oates was one of those men, and it was really devastating. He was actually in an interview, and he lost his voice in like mid-interview,
Wow.
and he
Live?
yeah. I think our first year was 95, or it might have been 94. I'm trying to remember. I was in, it was right before I was in 7th grade.
I'm thinking you missed Nolan Ryan by 2 years.
Yes, we missed, but he was around.
Yeah, well, he was
Yeah,
around when
I-
you were in Oriole, and
Right, but Nolan Ryan would hang out at the ballpark sometimes, so I've met and spoken with him.
He's a unique guy.
is
Yeah.
another. I mean, I'm
So-
like, if I had to 5 people I would like to talk to, Wade
Nolan
was one
Ryan's
of
one?
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was scared to do it.
Right. But we had a
No,
really
he's a fun guy. Come on, he just
look
carries.
like
It
that.
just has that.
No, he was really friendly talking to him. I mean, I talked to
always,
him when I was little.
I always think
and
of
he's really-
pictures like teachers.
Yeah.
So if Maddox is like your history teacher, Nolan Ryan is like your gym coach, and he's like looking at
They
you.
have
and
to be intimidating to be good
Yeah,
at what
and
they
he's
do, right?
looking
They
at
have
you-
this
he's
stare
look-
down, like the Andy Pettit stare, you know?
Yeah.
No,
Like
that's
that.
not the same.
No, no,
Not the
no,
same.
Cute stare.
It's a cute
no,
stare.
Nolan Ryan looks at you and it's like, if I could kill you.
Yeah,
I
that's
would.
why I would not approach.
Or like Goose from the Yankees, you know?
No, he's looked like the
you know,
assistant
Goose from the
principal.
Yankees.
Which one?
Goose. What's his last name?
Goose Gossage?
Yeah,
yeah,
Gossage,
yeah.
yeah.
He was intimidating.
Yeah, my dad caught for him.
Really?
Yeah.
That mustache. That
I know, it's so scary.
It's kind of. Did your dad ever tell a pitcher to hit someone?
Oh, I don't know.
I will ask him that.
If
I
he
will
comes
ask
on the
him
show,
that.
you can ask him. Yeah.
You know, it's kind
Yeah.
of weird. So Texas
Yeah.
becomes.
He was the third base coach there.
He started out as third base coach, and when Mr. Oates had to step down because of his cancer, my dad took over as manager. So he managed 2
Exactly.
seasons.
That's a big move.
And he was interim or full-time manager?
He started because Mr. Oates, I want to say his cancer was halfway through the season, and so my dad started interim. And I remember getting the call. I kept stats for the high school baseball team, and my dad called me, and he was like, I just got called up to manage. And I was like, oh. And
Wow.
I told my whole high school baseball team, and they're all like, yeah.
Yeah, so
So, but it was I mean, it was bittersweet though, because it was for
of
a
course.
sad reason. But Mr. Oates was one of my dad's biggest advocates. He really, like, through the minor leagues, he really pushed him quickly. He mentored him. He always said that my dad was going to be a manager and he was going to be a good one.
So it was meant to be.
Yes, so we were really grateful for the Oates. In fact, Mr. Oates' daughter Lori, she is running a merch campaign for us in the U.S. because she has
Really?
a
For us, as you say, for us, you mean...
for us the Jerusalem Lions, my favorite baseball team.
Yeah, real
Here it is.
Well,
Yeah, so-
obviously.
yeah, she has a T-shirt company, so she. I've had a lot of friends in the States be like, "Can I get some Jerusalem merch?" And I'm like, "I'm not shipping. I can't handle like going to the post office here and just shipping things to people."
Actually,
So,
now that I
she's
think
doing
about
that
it,
there
Johnny
for us.
Oates coming back to the Rangers is a big thing.
It was huge.
I mean, his
Yeah.
number is retired by them.
Yeah, it
so
was huge, and they had a great run. They were in the playoffs almost every season. We never beat the Yankees. We were like head to head with the Yankees every playoff. So
He resigned in 2001. That's
Yes.
it says. So your dad.
that was my
took-
senior year of high school.
So your dad took over 2001 as interim and is a full manager
The
2002.
next year, yeah, because Doug Melvin left, I think, that year, and then they got a new GM the next year, and the new GM kept my dad on, and Alex Rodriguez, he was on that
Oh,
team.
yeah.
Yeah.
But...
But
Teixeira?
it's what?
Teixeira? No, Teixeira came later on.
Yeah, he came later. He wasn't with us then. But A-Rod, I really enjoyed watching him. He was
Well,
really...
I can give you the lineup. It's Pudge Rodriguez, Palmero,
Yeah.
Velada, Caminiti, A-Rod, Rusty Greer, Bob Porter, Melato, Andres Galarraga, and Rick Healing was the opening day
Yes.
It's a
starter.
Hall of Fame
So-
lineup.
It is.
So that was
Well,
like most of
it's-
my
it
baseball
would've
career.
been.
Like most of what I call my baseball career was in Texas, and that's
So
where
the Rangers, that's your favorite team.
I'll never tell.
So, I mean, I was A-Rod, by the way. We have this thing
Yeah.
about everybody knows is,
You know who the approach.
let's just say
Fun guy.
he was not everyone's favorite player for different reasons.
different reasons.
Including the Yankee fans.
Right.
Or I don't know about
So-
Texas
Later on,
fans.
but that's later on.
Yeah,
I had personally, I had a different experience with
That's the
A-Rod.
thing.
So I love Alex, and my dad and him became very close. Alex has a baseball brain. Like
Yes,
few
no
people.
doubt about
And
it.
so I thought, like, when my dad's managing, and he would either always be on the phone with the GM or Alex. Alex always wanted to call him and talk about what happened the day before, what happened that day, how's
He
he
was
working.
really young. It's like
Yeah, he was a young
5,
guy,
20.
and they both were number 3 for the Mariners, so they kind of had that in common. And
Yeah.
so my dad and him really connected, and they had a great working relationship together. And my dad, to this day, even with the steroids, everything, and the Alex admitted to, he says to this day,
but we can.
he
It's a
has
big.
never worked with a ball player that worked as hard as Alex.
Yeah.
And so after the game, my dad would be the last one to come out of the clubhouse because of meetings and everything. So we would go to the game. Let me just lay this out first so you understand, for context. We would go to the game at like 7 p.m. My dad would go like 1, 2 in the afternoon. We would go at like 7 p.m. We would sit with the family. There's a family room under the ballpark. Ballparks have a tunnel that runs around underneath. It runs the whole circumference of the field. And like a belt. And so there's, underneath you have your clubhouse, you have a family room. In
like Northfield.
Texas, yeah, in Texas they had 2 different batting cage areas. They had one in the clubhouse, and they had one directly behind the dugout underground. And so we would be up and down the whole game, like family room stands, like up and down. And there's an elevator that basically took us directly to where we needed to go. So my dad would be the last. We would wait in the tunnel for him to come out in the parking area. And my dad, when he was managing, he was the last one out.
Yeah, that's.
And
When
then-
he was coaching, he was fourth man out.
Depending on whether or not they had to have a meeting with the manager, but since we were all down there waiting, he would try to get out a little bit quicker because we would.
And this is before managers had to face the press twice a day each day. So
Yeah, I mean, he was still facing the press, but not as much, I think, as
right.
now.
It wasn't like the mandatory
Right.
press conference
Right.
before and after a game.
So
Okay.
A-Rod, though, he would always be the last one out. He would walk out with my dad. They would come out together.
It's amazing.
And sometimes my dad would say, and this happened a lot, like I say sometimes, I don't know how many times, but he would be like, girls, come on. And he would take us in the clubhouse, and we would go and watch Alex take BP in the batting cage after the game.
Right.
And he wanted, and the reason he did that, and he said, I want you to see what it takes to be as good as he is. And we would just sit there, just his ethic. And he would do BP, and he would have Sinatra on in the background.
Oh.
And he's a classy guy.
Oh, yeah.
So
If I knew that then, I would rethink
That's
my
a
whole
bit
approach
too
to
late.
him.
Yeah.
I'm a Sinatra mark.
he knows I'm here, and when my dad sees him, if he's in New York or wherever, or Miami, he sees A-Rod. He asks how I'm doing here, like how
Bring him
how's
on.
it going? Yeah,
Okay.
so-
That's the thing. I mean, and on top of that, he has this uncanny talent of knowing what the pitcher is going to throw before the
Right.
pitcher does. That's what he's a terrible color guy. But the way he can read pitchers from the booth is scary. I mean, I would be scared to throw to him, knowing that he knows what I'm throwing before I do.
Right.
And you put in the athleticism and the work ethic, and I really think is the greatest player of this.
It was supposed to be.
I still think he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at talent. I'm not looking at. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, your dad, as let's go back to the failures. Where your dad never did he win anything as a coach? I mean, not as a manager, but he. So did he win anything, or did he get into the World Series?
No, he's never been to the World Series. That's one thing.
What was the closest you got?
Well, let's see. He's been in the ALCS so many times, like as a player and in the Yankees, when he was with the Angels. On this team, they went to ALCS and they lost to Boston. I remember that. I was there. And so the Rangers would always get to the end. We could not get past the Yankees, though. And then also he was on the Red Sox after he was fired from...
He was in the Red Sox in 2003.
So he was fired from the Rangers as manager, and he got hired on it with the Red Sox. And so he was on that team with Pedro's
As,
pitch.
As a
Well,
coach.
what was it? What did you do there?
Okay, so he was the bench coach.
Wow, that's better than
Yeah.
base coach.
I
So
don't
he was
know.
the bench coach of Grady Little
Yes.
in the 2003 series.
Yes.
My goodness.
I don't know. A lot of
Didn't tell him, take him out. Take him out.
Yeah, we've talked about this too, and there's
So
different
stubborn.
opinions on analytics
I don't
from
know,
guys
it's-
on the field.
Yeah,
but
it's amazing. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Pedro says, not would say, says he didn't have it at that point, and he was tired. But when the coach comes and asks, "Can you pull it off?" I mean,
Can't say no.
It's not. Again, they're wired differently. You
Yeah.
will not
Yeah,
say,
but the
"Yeah,
manager's
coach, I
supposed
don't
to
have."
know how to look
Right.
at his eyes.
Yeah, I
and
know,
see
I
if
know,
he says
I
the
know.
truth or not.
Right.
The managers don't supposed to ask. That's the
So-
point at this stage.
they just decide, right? They just
Yeah,
decide.
no, it's not. It's a different thing than you have like I don't know. Somebody comes again. We're not. I'm not teaching anyone how to manage, but
No.
Right.
at this stage, you're supposed to have a decision, and you're not supposed to do it. So and then what Ben
So,
said.
yeah, 2003 with
Yeah,
the Red Sox.
By the
and
way-
so on that
Yeah.
series, actually, I wasn't at that game. I was in undergraduate school.
Right.
I had a really intense major as an architect, so I couldn't just go to every game. But I had been to the playoffs 2 weekends in a row, and and I had this funny thing happen because I was taking Hebrew scriptures with a Jewish professor, a rabbi, and it was an elective. So
Right. We'll get there after we
Right.
finish with the Angels.
But I told him, I was like, I'm going to miss class Friday because I need to fly to Boston. He was like, okay, great. And so then the next week I said the same thing. I'm going to miss class again Friday because I have to fly back to Boston. And he said, okay, Kali Naren. And I was like, oh, he figured it out. He was like, have fun at the playoffs. And so I wasn't at that game with Pedro's pitch because I was counting on the next weekend flying to the World Series.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
so I
Oh,
missed that. Yeah.
We all
But,
do.
so they all got fired, and what's interesting though is that this actually affected my destiny and me being here
Oh.
because Terry Francona was hired the next year. My dad had worked with him; he was one of his coaches, and so Tito, he wanted my dad to stay with him in Boston, and also the Reds were wanting my dad to come with them. So he's getting offers from both at the same time, and he's going back and forth about what to do. And there were so many different factors that I won't share that were influencing, but in the end, he decided to go to Cincinnati. And
So
For him, that might be not good.
no, actually for
Won
him,
in 2004.
it ended up being very good for him, but he didn't win the championship
Yeah.
with Tito Francona.
right, he
Yeah, he lost the
didn't. He
ring.
didn't go with Tito's to the
Yeah, but he
championship.
got his second tenure as a manager as a result of that.
Yes, and I was finishing undergrad, and I wanted to get a master's degree in architecture, and I had worked so hard. I'm kind of a hyper overachiever, okay? So I worked so hard, and the University of Cincinnati had the number 2 ranked program in America, and I think it was number 3, number 4 globally. So it was a really good school. Number 1 was Harvard.
Obviously.
So yeah, so that's the
It's
caliber
amazing that
of
it
school.
was not it was number for architecture.
Right.
So you
so my
think
dad-
Harvard, MIT, all those places.
Yeah. And so University of Cincinnati, it's a really great school. Architects know that. The average person doesn't because it's a state school. But architects know. Like when they say, my husband told another architect the other day that I had an MArch from UC. And they were like, oh, like they know, like they know it's a good school. So my dad's in Cincinnati, and I got accepted to UC. And Nate Fish, actually. You guys know Nate Fish?
Yeah, obviously.
He's also UC alum. Yeah, so we're both alumni from UC.
Oh wow.
So,
Well, what did he major in?
baseball.
Obviously. Yeah, I was going to
Actually,
say
I don't
I don't
know
know what he
what his major
majored in, but
But
what
yeah,
is the
we're
baseball the baseball team of the
Bearcats.
Bearcats,
Yeah,
right?
so we're Bearcats.
The Bearcats.
Yeah, so I was accepted, and my dad's working there, and so that was kind of incentive to go, because I actually wanted to go to New York. I wanted to be at Columbia and be in the city, and then there's some other schools I was looking at, West Coast. But
Despite knowing that we're talking about the number 2 in the
yes,
country.
right, yeah. So I was accepted to this top ranked school. My dad's there, and so I went there,
That made the decision.
yeah, that decided it for me. I was like, this can't be a coincidence that my dad's there and it's a top ranked school, and I got in. Right?
Yeah, and you made it, and it was a good decision, obviously.
Yeah, so I went, and my husband's from Cincinnati. So I made friends with mutual friends of his, and they were like, you guys have some things in common, you should meet Devin. But he was already living here. He moved here in 1999. And so he had made Aliyah just before.
5 years before.
Well, he didn't make Aliyah right away. So he was here and he went to school. And then he went to China and worked for a year and came back and made Aliyah. And so I met him right after his Aliyah. And turns out the friends
His
were
name is
right.
Devin?
Yeah, Devin.
Devin Mitchell.
Devin Mitchell.
There's a basketball player, Devin Mitchell.
Oh, really?
A very good one.
Which brings us to another twist of the tale. And again, I don't know. As I always say, I don't know how it is in other places. I only know Israel. And in Israel, those things, it's like pop up every time. Because your dad's Christian. Obviously, you are, or you were.
No, I am.
Oh, you still are.
Yeah,
so
I'm very
the
committed
Magen
Christian, so-
David is just the
It's
disguise.
hard.
No, it's
I'm
not a
joking.
disguise.
I'm joking. So you're a Christian.
Yeah.
Your husband's Jewish, but the thing is, your dad is a Zionist.
Yeah. Yes. So
How does that work? I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I have. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of because we talked to Pat Doyle a while ago. He's also Christian. He's very adamantly not even pro-Israel, but like very Zionistic.
Pro-Israeli baseball.
Well, yeah, but he likes Israel as a thing, and I don't even know. I mean, I don't.
It's a project.
Yeah, and it's kind of. How did your dad get into this thing? I mean, was it? I don't know. Did his pastor at church told him that the Israelites are coming back to Canaan? I mean, I'm. It's kind of, to us it's weird, but I'm sure that maybe it's not weird. I don't know.
No, I think sometimes Christian Zionists get kind of a bad rap. But
Never
basically what happened for us is that I've had 9 men in my family play professional baseball. The Narins have been in baseball since 1935, which is a whole story in itself. My great uncle Sam Narin, he was signed by Branch Rikki
Oh my God! Oh,
Yeah, and-
We should have
that's a
started there.
name. Now that's a name.
Right.
No, she shouldn't have started there because we haven't got to
Stay there all
Jerusalem,
day,
and
yeah.
it's never mind.
Well,
I'm
Mr.
joking.
Ricky, though, in the family, he's Mr. Ricky. Okay, so Mr. Ricky.
Yeah, I know that. I noticed that there's misters in your speech.
I'm from the South. I'm Southern.
Yeah, I know, and I really appreciate that you come and fortunately, but you're from North Carolina.
Yes.
I mean, if you were like from Alabama, this would have been a different interview. We
Different
wouldn't have
story.
needed captions or
Right.
something.
French Ricky is Mr. Ricky.
So I'll swing back to the Christian Zionist thing, but this is fun to tell. But
Yeah.
so Uncle Sam was signed by Branch Rickey, and Mr. Ricky was also a very committed Christian. In
He
fact,
was.
he didn't make it so far in baseball because he wouldn't play on Sundays.
Oh, it
So-
wasn't.
Right, so that was
Oh.
part of the reason he didn't continue to succeed as a ball player. But he was very forward thinking, and he had very
Yeah,
strong
I mean-
values. Like he actually invented the minor league system.
That's correct.
Right, because
in St. Louis.
yes, because they at that time all the minor league teams were independent, and big league teams would send the scouts and they would pull guys in. And he thought he believed that you could find quality out of quantity. So he thought that we should buy these independent teams and actually create a farm system and structure it so that we're cultivating and developing our own coaches and our own ball players within the Cardinals organization, right? So he signed my great uncle, and he told him, "You're not going to make it if you don't get your life right." So he challenged him to clean up his life, live respectfully, and he also put it in his contract that a certain percentage of his earnings would go to his mother. And Mr. Ricky became Uncle Sam's mentor. So every time Mr. Ricky changed teams, he took my Uncle Sam with him. And he even, my Uncle Sam was the first bullpen coach in baseball.
Oh, so he also invented the
First
bullpen.
bullpen.
Yeah,
coach.
because Branch
Yeah, I
Rickey
mean, Branch
invented...
Rickey, without Branch Rickey, baseball as we know it would have been very different.
Very different. He
mean, we're
invented
talking
the
about
batting
one of the most-
helmet.
Yeah.
He invented the batting cage.
He was
He was an innovator,
yeah,
and he brought in Jackie Robinson, of course, which is
obviously
something he's
that's
most known for.
that's the big
Right.
thing. I think
Draw
what
that
you're
in.
discussing is exactly what we talked about when we get to Israeli baseball. There's a big difference than saying I'm doing a job and I'm looking at a problem and I'm trying to fix it.
Fix it, right.
And Branch Rickey basically invented a lot of things that everyone saw. I mean, everyone saw Perez get beamed in the head. He just the one
Yeah.
who thought, well, we should do
Do
something,
something about
it.
that. Right.
Everybody saw there was a big thing about black people not playing baseball. Well,
Let's do something about
Exactly.
it. Right. And that was even 10 years before Brown versus Board of Education in the U.S.
exactly.
that
Well,
desegregated
There's
schools.
some
So he
guts
was
to
like,
do things like that.
well,
Yeah, he was
yeah,
gutsy.
and he had a lot of backing from the mayor and from the team, and still it was very different. And yeah, and Martin Luther King says without Jackie Robinson there might have not been a civil rights movement.
Right.
And for me, again, I'm like those are my idols. I mean, those people I think about. And Branch Rickey is like the godfather of
Right.
all things.
And so he was, I mean, when I say like he mentored Uncle Sam, he really mentored him.
Yeah, which is
My
why
cousin-
she shouldn't have started with that, because as you can see, it's going to be
My
very
cousin-
hard move coming back to
Right. But my cousin Rooster, his
Mm-hmm.
son, he also played professionally. He played for the Mets.
See, they had different
Minor
names
league
then.
Mets.
His cousin
Rooster.
was called Rooster.
His name's Richard, but we all call him
Yeah, I
Rooster.
know, but that's the thing. We lament the fact that we don't have great names in baseball these days.
Right, yeah. So he should
So
have.
he paid for the Metropolitans, the original Metropolitans, not the.
Yeah, he was in the
team,
minor
the name,
leagues,
the
though.
team,
He
the
didn't
name
make
was
it to the
named.
big leagues, so.
The team, the Mets were named after.
Right. He didn't make it up to the big leagues, but he played in the minor leagues.
No, doesn't matter. He played
But
for the Mets.
Rooster tells me though that, and my dad too, they say that they grew up hearing real stories about Branch Rickey. You know, when there was a family reunion, a family dinner, 9 guys in the family. You know, like, can you
They have a
imagine?
team, 9 guys that can build the team. They
Team,
can take
exactly.
the
I
field.
told my dad he should make a lineup card and place all of them in the batting
did
order, and he said that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I just
you
came
should.
up with this a few days ago. I was like, you just need to make sure you write on it that when you're done with it, it's mine, so people in the family don't fight over it. But yeah, you know, this was the family culture too. You know, like it wasn't just like we talked about baseball when we were in baseball season. we go home in the off season. It was just baseball. My grandparents had a
Nothing
batting
else.
cage in the backyard.
Wow.
You know, guys would go
Amazing.
out there
That's fun.
and they would play, you know, take BP in the batting cage and
I could enjoy those life, you know.
yeah. So this was just our family. But
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Sam, though, he was signed in 1935. So we have a 90-year heritage of baseball in our family now. So
Till
that's yes, and so that's kind of
Counting.
where I'm coming. But where I was going with this though is my grandfather. He was playing in the minor leagues, and he was playing. He played a few different independent minor league teams, and this is before Mr. Rikki invented the farm system, right? So he was still independent, but he threw out his shoulder while he was playing for the Goldsboro Gold Bugs. And
Oh, that's a name.
yeah. So he decided to stay in Goldsboro. And Goldsboro, which is my hometown, it was the Civil War passed straight through.
Right.
And after the Civil War, a Jewish family, the Wheel family, moved from the north and came and rebuilt it. And so they built the second oldest synagogue in Goldsboro. And so my grandfather, when he retired from baseball, he started working for a prominent Jewish leader in Goldsboro. And you have to think, this is the South. This is not Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is not Chicago.
Yeah.
There's not a big, thriving Jewish community. And my grandfather's working for a prominent Jewish leader.
As Paul Simon named the cradle of the Civil War, which is a very nice euphemism to describe what. I mean, they were not friendly towards not
Exactly.
even non-Christian, not non-Protestant
Right.
Christian.
Right.
So
Right. So that's the bigger context. And so you think, like, for my grandfather to be working for a prominent Jewish man was really significant. And he mentored him in business and trained him. And they became friends. And
Which
he was
is-
religious. So he kept the Hagim. And so my aunt tells me that growing up, they would look at my oldest aunt. They're all
look at
4
both
Jason.
calendars. They
Yes.
would check both calendars
Yeah.
to make sure there's no. There's Christmas and there's Hanukkah, and let's make sure we
Right.
don't schedule anything.
And let's see where the family
that's
vacations are going to
beautiful.
be because the boss is going to close the shop. They became really good friends, and
Oh,
I
that's
think that
beautiful.
started a really special relationship between our family and the Jewish people. And
So if not that injury,
right. And
didn't happen.
it was interesting because it was baseball. You think it was baseball that
That
brought
connected
right,
Again.
and then it was baseball again. Like my dad choosing to go to Cincinnati and me moving there for grad school that brought me here.
Wow.
So it's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just been this friendship for generations, and we're Southern Baptist. Grew up Southern Baptist, and the Southern Baptists have a very pro-Israel theology
Yes.
because of the reading of Scripture.
Yes.
It's more, we use a historical grammatical hermeneutic. So when you look at Scripture, it's not like you're spiritualizing or interpreting things. You're looking at it, and it's like, if it says, those who bless you will be blessed,
Right.
then we believe that. If it says like that the Israel is the apple of God's eye, we believe that.
Right.
And this is also Ambassador Huckabee. He is from the same background. He was a Southern Baptist
Oh,
pastor.
yes, I know. But
I got to meet with him a few weeks ago.
now,
talk
we're not
about
going to
baseball.
debate religious here
Yeah.
because, on the other hand, there's a lot of stuff different. But I do want to circle back to your experience because this is a great moment because, as you said, you met your future husband.
Right.
And he is Jewish. And as you told me before, you knew you were dating Israel. You were not just dating
Right.
a Jewish guy, which is a completely,
Right.
well, maybe not completely to you, but it's a completely different heritage, culture, whatever. But you knew you were going to eventually come here.
Right.
So
So
what was that like? I mean, I don't know because I never thought about moving away. So you're basically saying if I'm building a house with this man, the house will not be in Cincinnati or North Carolina. It's gonna be in probably Jerusalem.
right, because he had just made Aliyah and he was in the army, and he was very much like, this is where I'm going to live. This is where I want to have family. So I had to think through that. If I marry Devin, I'm marrying Israel, and this is going to be life. And I thought through that realistically, like what I would be giving up. I thought I was giving up baseball because I didn't know baseball was here, and that was something
It
I really It might not have been. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to lay down baseball. You know, I had a horse that I loved, and I wasn't sure how, I couldn't bring the horse. And so,
Didn't you think I'll bring baseball to Israel?
I didn't at the
What's that?
time. I don't know why. My dad had also just gotten fired from the Reds, so I think I was a little bit like, baseball, you're so hard. I'm so bitter at baseball. Yeah, like I can't do baseball anymore. So, there's a lot going on with me related to baseball, but I really was like, I don't know, the concern for me was more like, my children are going to have no concept of how I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to know anything about what it was like for me to be in the ballpark every day and to have family games and to travel with the team and feeling kind of that loss and thinking through that. And I did grieve it. But then I got here, and when my son I moved here in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I got here, after we had our first son, we were at a friend's house for Seder.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the guests that were there, we just started talking about baseball, and they told me, the father said, I grew up playing baseball and my son plays baseball. And I was like, really?
There's baseball here.
There's baseball here.
There is the roots of baseball, but again, from that to becoming the regional director, is that a big leap, or was that for you like an obvious choice?
Well, when it actually happened, it was obvious, but it was kind of a leap for a while, because my son, my oldest son, Aviel, he's 15.
Mm-hmm.
He's just starting in juniors this year. And so I got him started with the Jerusalem program when he was 4.
Mm-hmm.
So early, like they let him play early, I guess, just because I was like, hey, my dad's in Major League Baseball, can he play? So we started out T-ball, and this was with Coach Howie. Do you guys remember Howie in Jerusalem last year? Okay. So Howie was running Jerusalem baseball, and he was fantastic, and the program was huge. We were at Old Craft, and I loved it because all of the kids practiced together. They had a different division on every corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were kind of in the center with the T-ball group, and then the parents would all sit on the stands and bring their
so
dogs
adorable.
and eat. And I could look around and see the development. It felt like spring training. I don't know if have you ever been to spring training?
No, but I watched spring training,
Yeah,
but
but
don't
you've never been there.
experience this
Because at spring training,
summer school
when you go,
for baseball. I don't know what you call it.
right. But when you go to spring training, you have kind of the main field where the big league guys play,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's fields all over, and so you can see the different levels all practicing, and you
Yeah,
can
and
see
it's
them.
so adorable when you see kids play. You basically can take a soccer field or a baseball field, and one game is happening on this corner, the other game is on this
That
corner,
one,
and
right.
the third game is on this corner.
Yeah.
Or if it's a rectangular, then you have 4 corners. Because the little kids' games are very, very small. Everything is very small, so you can basically play it in a corner. And they keep shouting, so it's like you're sitting inside a cacophony of shouts and screams and songs and everything. It's very, very. For me, it's like the greatest sound on earth to sit and listen to that.
Right.
So
So it was a really great experience, though.
Mm-hmm.
And Howie was the RD of Jerusalem, but he chose to coach T-ball because he said, in Israel, you got to hook them young.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going to filter into basketball or soccer. And
Right.
he wanted both the kids and the parents to have a really great experience. Well, Howie passed away mid-season that year. He had a stroke calling a game. He was umpiring and calling a game, and he had a stroke on the field and died with kids.
Yeah, I was saying that was probably a way to maybe have wished that, but not in front of all the kids.
Right. So it was devastating to the entire Israel baseball community, but specifically Jerusalem. Our program had a really hard time coming back after that. It was okay. We were hanging in there for a few years. We have some really great people like Adam Frank, who runs our batting cage. He was really helping sustain it, and he got us a batting cage in Howie's memory. He did all the legwork to do the fundraising and have it built and everything. And he's in my front office. We call the board for our emerging Amutah the front office because we're baseball people. So I worked really well with Adam, and we had this turnover of RDs like every 2 years or so. I think we had one woman stay 4 years, and she did a good job. I think then she moved to Tel Aviv. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it was just this constant turnover, and we were losing kids. Something happened. We lost the relationship at Kraft and moved to someplace else, and it just went downhill south like really fast. And we were struggling to keep baseball together over there. And Peter asked me years ago, like, yes, because I met Peter at one of Aviel's games when he was little, and I introduced myself, told him who I was, and he said, "Where have you been all my life?"
Before he was the president.
I'm not sure what his role was then. I don't know if he was president, CEO. I can't remember, but he was.
He was very involved all the way.
So he actually pulled my dad in for the World Baseball Classic and got him involved with that. Right. But during this time of turnover of RDs, Peter did approach me and ask me if I was interested in doing it. And I remember saying no. And then now, like 10 years later, I said yes. And I've had such a great experience. I look back at that, I'm like, was that the wrong decision? And I think about what was going on. I've had 2 brain tumors since I've lived here.
Oh, God.
So when Peter asked me about this, I was sick and either right after surgery the first time or headed into surgery. I can't remember.
You knew it was going to be an uphill battle because Jerusalem went off the map really, really fast.
Really fast.
I mean, talking to people, we've talked to people who played, and they said they had like, you could, I mean, at that point you could have like your own league. You had the Ra'anana Tel Aviv guys league. You could play only in the Jerusalem, Avaseret, whatever. And all of a sudden, that's gone. That's everything. Baseball, in the junior level, in the little league level, vanished throughout the past couple of decades, almost off the map. And now, when you want to, they wanted to bring a Jerusalem team, they basically had to pick up players who were, I don't even know if they were from Jerusalem or just agreed to play for Jerusalem because they didn't make the cut for the other teams. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they were like they were even worse than expansion. Yes,
we really were struggling, and we were bleeding out kids. Like our talented, committed kids were going and playing in other cities.
Exactly, that's what.
So and then that would bring morale down for the ones that were staying, and. But I understand as a parent, I understand like this program can't get its act together. My kid wants to play baseball, so I'm going to go to Beit Shemesh or Tel Aviv or Bodine or wherever else. And I know that there's an era where like all of Jerusalem youth programs are really struggling, but I really think that Jerusalem was hit hardest. And I've talked to my husband about this. I'm like, you know, am I just perceiving this wrong because this is where we are? And he said, no, we saw the kids leave. We saw what the uniforms looked like in other programs. We saw the equipment that they had, and we had nothing. Right. You know, we didn't have equipment. We didn't have enough kids for teams. We would borrow kids from other teams.
Which is what's happened with Jerusalem in the league. They basically, I don't want to say cannibalized, but they basically begged around. Yeah. They started, and they started with players who didn't make the cut for other teams, which is every expansion. Yeah, exactly. That's okay. But they were losing so badly that Louis basically says another month of this, and those players would not want to come. Yeah. So he had to ask specifically because. I mean, it's okay to lose, but it's not okay to lose 30-0 in the second inning. Yes. So he says, listen, we have to give them a positive experience. At least lose honorably, otherwise this team will not last the season. I mean, he didn't say that in those words, but everybody knew what he meant. So and everybody then started, players started to move and pitch for them, and they became more representable. So, and we're talking about again 20 or whatever years ago, you could play Little League in Jerusalem as a league. They had like 4 teams. They had like
you guys know Ariel Lambert.
Exactly,
he
that's
came
what
out of
we're
our
talking
program.
about.
Yeah, he's been on our coaching staff. He's not here this year because he's in a combat unit.
Yeah,
but I message
which
him.
Which is again the
like
Israeli,
once a week with updates.
The Israeli part of Israeli baseball. It's very difficult.
He's planning to come back next year, but he grew up in Jerusalem baseball. And I've talked with him about what his experience was as a child and what the program was like then. It completely died. I mean, it was we were just hanging on. I think the only reason we survived at all is because of Adam Frank in the batting cage and Coach Howard Felsen. Howard has been coaching for Jerusalem for 25 years. And I think everyone in Israel baseball that's played for Jerusalem has been with Coach Howard at some point. And I think between those two and then a few other committed parents, Todd Zeff, his kids have all played, and there's a few committed parents who just really worked at holding it together. And
but it's hard because again, Bet Shemesh is not across the country. It's 20 minutes by car.
And Efrat also, there's some places that people can get to that are fairly accessible. If you're committed enough, they're fairly accessible.
It feels like Jerusalem. We always talk about the Rangers are important to baseball because if there's a good Rangers team, it means it like pulls everything around it because it's Dallas. It's a big thing. It's not like if Kansas can sink or swim. Nobody cares about Kansas City, but Rangers is important.
Right.
So it kind of feels like Jerusalem because Ra'anana and Tel Aviv will have their baseball. Beit Shemesh has great plays. Modi'in is nice, but those kids will play because there's an American contingency there. Jerusalem is like important. If we can get Jerusalem up to a level, then it kind of feels like a lot of movement will start going up.
I 100% agree with you. And some of this is because of my position on scripture.
Well, obviously.
But,
on scripture.
Yeah, like...
Okay, I didn't think you would go. I thought you would say because I'm the RD. Obviously, that's what I think. But
well, okay. I am the RD. And I do think that because I'm the RD. But even more so, Psalm 122 says, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. All who love her will prosper." Okay? So I believe that is true in a biblical, spiritual way. Like, I believe that's a principle.
It's kind of annoying that the only non-Jewish person in the room can quote chapter and verse.
Yeah, because I was like, before I ended up in Israel, I was going to be...
And you have 2 books to memorize. We only have 1.
Right. But I was thinking I was going to be an architect in Africa and making hospitals, and then I was going to be a U.S. senator.
One day.
Maybe.
Well, senator,
I won't be a
don't
senator
think
now because I'm
now.
Israeli.
But architect in Africa, I mean,
Yeah.
You probably had to rescue Mike just last year. So.
Right, go find Mike. But yeah, basically though, like, even when I had those dreams before I came here and had to kind of just let a new dream emerge, I still held to that. That was something I believed, like, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. All who love her will prosper. And so I think that Jerusalem's kind of been the missing piece of Israel baseball as a whole. And if we all rally around Jerusalem, I think that it's the capital city of our country. We have more tourists come in and out, more diplomats come in and out. The U.S. Embassy is there now. If we want to really have a presence in our country, Jerusalem baseball is that role. We serve that function.
Even for local, we always laugh about, we do laugh about the idea that Jerusalem and Tel Aviv are like, well, maybe not in the same country. It's funny, but let's look at it as, let's say this is the fact, the culture of Israel. Then if you have baseball in Tel Aviv and you have baseball in Jerusalem, you're basically, there's a lot of maybe not even interlapping communities that you're touching. So you're accessing a lot more people this way.
Exactly, right.
Well, yeah, maybe one day when Yaniv Rosenfeld becomes mayor of Haifa, then we'll talk about it. But baseball in Yarot HaKarmel, the ball will
So
go.
you've been the RD since?
This is I'm going into my second year. So last year was my first year. And that came about because during the war, our RD was in Miloim. And by the end of the baseball season, he called a meeting with the coaches. And he called me to the meeting. I'm not sure exactly why, except that I had already been doing some fundraising. As I was recovering from my second surgery, I was really starting to be like, I was seeing my son's passion for baseball drop because it was a bad experience. And I was like, this can't happen And I actually started, this is really funny.
I will be dishonored by my family if this happens.
Right, I can't let this happen. But, we're talking about Jerusalem borrowing guys and borrowing equipment. There's a passage in Deuteronomy that says you'll be the head and not the tail, you will lend and not borrow. And so Deuteronomy 28, and I actually literally started praying this every day. Jerusalem baseball will be the head, not the tail. We'll lend and not borrow.
You had a bar mitzvah. What are you doing?
I don't remember.
But I really did. I really started praying this, and I started asking my friends in the States. I did a equipment fundraiser privately, and I raised enough money to get 24 batting helmets.
That's nice.
So we wouldn't have to borrow from other teams. And I'm doing this before I'm RD. I'm scouting the city for land. I drove past this property, and I literally was like, that's it. This thought came into my mind, that's your baseball field. I'm kind of putting things together. And so I went to this meeting at the end of the year with the RD and all the coaches, and he announced that he had to step down because it was just too much for him between Miluim and his job and baseball and everything. And he was like, so who's going to be the RD? And I thought, it's you. I'm kind of hearing it's you. But I can't just be in the meeting, I'll do it, because I'm married, I have 4 children, and I wasn't even, my brain surgery has a 24-month recovery, and I wasn't at that 24-month point yet. And so, so I was like, I don't even know if I'm healthy enough to do this. So I went home, and I asked my husband, I was like, what do you think about me being RD? And he was like, absolutely 100% do it. And I was like, okay. He wasn't even, he didn't even hesitate. So I called up RRD, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in taking over. You let Peter and Jordy know. And so then they came to my house 2 weeks later, and we talked it over and made an arrangement, and I took over, and I've been plowing through.
Yeah, which is kind of bring us to cap it all. This is we have ushered a new age in Israeli baseball. We have, because Ari was there. Ari was here 2-3 weeks ago,
right? And
he talked about his vision, and for some reason it's kind of interesting how I think maybe everybody gets into this. They want their kids to play, and now they want their team to work, and now they want the city to work, and now all of a sudden I'm the head of baseball in Israel or whatever, the head of baseball in Jerusalem.
One thing led to another.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, it's not just it's not just inertia.
Right.
In your case, even more, it's not just inertia. Ari could say, well, somebody had to do this, somebody had to do that, somebody had to do this, and it was me. Here you made a conscious decision, okay, I'm going to be the one to do it. And
her husband did.
Well, as the Bible say, Yada shor nefesh koneh. Never mind. He knew what's good for him. And it's kind of feels like we have a lot of, I know goodwill sounds like I don't know, fluff, but we have a lot of really good energies that are just wait to be challenged in the right places.
Right.
And you said I did my own fundraising.
Yes.
I have my own things. I have the goals. How is that merging with what Ari thinks, or what with the vision, or is it the same vision and we're just talking about because you want baseball to succeed, right, but you want Jerusalem to succeed? Yes.
So I think it's merging really well with Ari, because last year I was just observing different programs, and I got a lot of mentoring from David Weiss and Carney Shamron. Thank you to David. He basically got me through the fall. Yeah. He called me multiple times a week and made sure I was doing okay. And then Ellie and Beit Shemesh did a lot of mentoring with me as well, because she is probably the best RD in the nation. And she's a machine, and I just am mind blown.
We should have her,
yes. Yeah, so she did a lot of mentoring with me as well. So I had a lot of help, and
we'll do it in the baseball ground in Beit Shemesh.
Right.
Oh,
and then there's some programs that I just didn't interact with as much, but I could tell that they were strong. One of the board members in Renana, Paige Cohen, is one of my best friends.
Oh, Paige, I know.
You know Paige?
Yeah.
Paige and Daniel.
Whole family there.
Right.
Yeah.
Paige and Daniel are good friends of ours. And so I would talk to her about what they were doing, and what I'm seeing is that the programs that were the strongest had their own amutah, because then they were able to implement programs that were out of the purview of IAB at the time. And so I was organizing to get us an amutah and working in that direction, doing some research. How did I run this? Who do we need to bring in? We were going to sign in June, but then the war happened, so we haven't signed yet. everybody scattered after the war. Like everyone traveled,
Wasn't
so we're just
Yeah,
waiting for
so-
everyone. We were waiting for everyone to get back in the country. So I'm hoping next week we'll sign. But so I'm working in this direction, and that's basically the same vision that Ari has as well
In
for
Tel Aviv. He started in Tel Aviv.
right. But he wants all of the regions to have their own amutah and have more independent decision making. So I feel like from the start that was already in the same direction. And just like he's kind of visionary, and I am too. I'm very, very visionary. I'm going to cast a big vision for you guys in a minute. But
Already.
also, like I am someone who wants to get things done too,
Yeah.
right? Like it's when you can't just dream. You have to dream, think, and do,
Yeah.
right? And so we're very much working together on the same parallel in this. What I would say is different is that I want Jerusalem to be the center of Israel baseball.
Well, that's the point. You have different, and yet it's not
Yeah.
not a contradicting places.
Yeah.
You want Jerusalem to
Right.
succeed. He wants everyone to
Everyone's
succeed. The
right.
things-
So we're back and forth. The architects we're back and forth between big and small, and I've really approached taking over Jerusalem in the same way.
Right.
You know, I've sat down and I've kind of written out like these are our assets and these are our constraints. And anytime you take on a creative project, it's actually your constraints that push creativity. You know, because that's what draws you into problem solve and everything. So it's like, okay, we don't have a field. Right? But we have a batting cage. So this year, and I'm looking around at my staff, I know Mike Moritz really wanted to be a hitting coach. So we have a great batting cage with a pitching machine. Let's start hitting academy. So this year we're starting a hitting academy, which is a separate fee from, from the regular fee that the kids pay. I really want us to get a field. This is my commitment to Jerusalem baseball, is that we will have a field.
Where?
Right. I don't know yet. I have
Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, right.
Right.
There is some land that I'm interested in, but I have to talk with the city. But we will have a field. My dream field would be a regulation Little League field, a regulation adult field with an indoor practice facility between the two. And I've
Huge dream. That's a huge dream.
and like as an architect,
Let's
like
start small.
No.
you start big.
That's the same thing you did with
Yeah.
Ari. You have to prioritize. Says, no, I'm going for every goal. That's the thing. You're talking
So,
about. You
I start big.
You have to
I
start. That's
big,
what we said.
and
You
then
have
I
to
kinda
start
like-
big, and then you'll get the small things.
Right, and
if
narrow
you
it
start
down and
small,
start-
you'll end small. And we can.
Right.
I mean, we're not in the small stage now. Maybe in 20 years.
And so I want the national team practicing in my place. It's gonna be in Jerusalem, Ari.
All right.
So yeah, so we
2030,
gotta,
2032 WBC in Jerusalem.
right,
Stadium.
right. No, I'm gonna be happy for it to be in Tel Aviv too. And the reason though is because like, okay, this is where I'm gonna cast a vision a little bit, and then we'll kind of come back to Jerusalem. I see, being a baseball person, being an architect, I see so much potential for baseball in Israel.
Oh yeah.
But I don't even know if other people see it.
Of course.
But we have.
No, I actually don't.
Do you guys
that's-
know?
I
Do
think
you
there are
know what influences how a baseball moves in space? Do you know what it is?
What? No.
The air
Let's see if Eris
pressure?
knows.
Hmm?
Yeah, go ahead.
The air pressure between the skin and the cork, and the the turbulence around the seams.
Okay, so with that though, environmentally, baseballs are kind of particular. They like a certain amount of humidity.
Right.
They like a really low air density, so they like altitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they like a
which is-
warmer temperature, because warmer temperature has
Which is
lower.
why playing in Denver is an atrocity.
Actually, they like it there because of the altitude.
Well, yeah, the ball
So-
fly really fast,
yeah.
but the game is not balanced.
Right. So
Depends
it's
who you
different.
are.
Right.
No, I'm saying
So-
that the game is not balanced in those areas. So
Because of the extremes.
yeah.
Well, look at us in Israel. We have 4 different climate zones, and we have elevation that spans from 1,400 feet below sea level to 73 feet above sea level.
We're gonna make a field in Yam HaMelach.
Yes. No, we wouldn't do that. It wouldn't
No,
be safe
no,
for
no.
the kids. But if you think though, like in the small nation, the size of New Jersey, we have so much working with us to develop ball players who can experience what it is for baseball to move in different
Because the
elevations.
ball in Jerusalem, where it's high and dry, moves
Yes.
differently than the ball in Tel Aviv, which is low
Lower.
and...
Yes.
That's brilliant.
Yes, and so I think this is something that we should maximize as a community. And until we get a field in Jerusalem and other parts of the country,
Can't do it.
we can't do it. But we have to build this infrastructure of baseball fields so that we can take our kids and have them develop this instinct for
So
how the ball feels.
this theoretical kid
Yeah.
who played baseball in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, maybe Misgav for 10 years, goes now and he has a leg up on a kid who only plays in Santa Monica. Who only
Exactly.
played, even if he was traveling, he
Yeah.
was traveling in Georgia, he was traveling
Right.
in North
Maybe that's
Carolina.
what made Alon so good.
Maybe that's
Maybe,
what made Alon so
maybe.
good. But I mean, you've blown my mind here. Consider my mind blown now. And I'm thinking, I mean, this is what I said. I mean, when you said, why is baseball in Israel going to be so good? I'm like, I don't know, because we like it. But I never thought that it could
Right.
give you this Hollywood experience of
Yeah.
4 different climate zones.
Exactly, and
in the same
elevations,
place.
right. And this is
that's-
just based on the topography of the land. This is just what the
Right.
land gives us, right? And I think, like, even just telling the kids, when you go on a teal with your family, take 2 gloves and a ball, and just throw with your dad. You know, take 2 minutes maybe in the Dead Sea, and just throw and see how the ball feels. Go up to the Hermon and throw and see how the ball feels.
And you can
And-
play in Arizona afterwards because
Yeah.
you're used to the weather.
Exactly. Just every time you're on a teal, just play catch and see how the ball feels. And we could start there
Maybe
and
make a
then
video.
make a video and measure things and get a
Just
radar
the feel,
gun.
just
and,
the feel for the ball.
right, because actually, like, ball players, it's the instinct center of the brain that really activates when guys are playing.
Right,
So to
exactly.
cultivate and develop this instinct in these 4 different climate zones and these different elevations, I think would give Israeli ball players a leg up, and even could be a place where guys come and play winter ball. I was last winter. I was down in Nahal Oz because I had an architecture client down there. I was helping with the pro bono project, and I was walking around the kibbutz, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like spring training." It felt like spring
is
training.
working on a program there now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm talking
Yes.
about it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it felt like spring training, and I thought this could be winter ball. Like MLB could send minor leaguers here for
they
winter ball
really, I mean, they
to Gaza
they,
Lago. It could be like
yeah, they send them to Australia now and
Right.
stuff, so they can
So
send
why
them
not
here.
Israel, right? Why
Yeah,
not
why
Israel?
not?
And
Why
then
not?
also, I like how Ari talks about how we have to create an ecosystem for baseball.
Right.
So, you know, we need to really think about what that means. You know, like, what does that mean for fields? Baseball fields actually like to be in a city.
Well,
I'm talking to people in MLB. I'm going to start writing grants for it to happen. I'm trying to get some more meetings in the city. So it's not just a dream that's out here. It's real. You know, like,
That's-
I'm taking real steps to move us in this direction. And I was speaking with Bo Porter, that's with the Angels. He's on my dad's team. They're best friends. And my dad's like, Bo wants to talk to you. And I was like, great. And he said, Bo's really intelligent. He's a go-getter. He's going to have some interesting things for you. So he was doing some mentoring with me on how to get a field.
Mm-hmm.
He started a program. He worked for the baseball commissioner. And he started a program called the MLB Youth Development Foundation that facilitates getting fields. So I was having this mentoring call with him about how to get a field, and he's talking through the steps with me about applying for a grant and whatnot. And then he goes, and you're going to have to hire an architect. And I was like, well. So I mean, we have these
Funny
things.
enough.
I have an urban planner on my coaching staff. One of my coaches is an urban planner. So, you know, this is something that we're doing. But meanwhile, it's the small things too, right?
Right.
So we have these big things that we're going for. I told my husband last year, I was like, my dream for a field in Jerusalem feels so real that I literally feel like it could just come down
Yeah.
and be here. And then the next day I went to practice and my T-ball helmets were full of mud because our shed had flooded and they were soaked. The padding, and these are my new ones that I bought, right? And the padding was soaked and there's mud inside and I'm like crying because I'm like wiping out my helmets before my baby ball players come, and it's like, this is the reality. Like, I have this giant dream, but then I've got muddy T-ball helmets,
that's-
right?
Something is in between.
Yeah, something's in between.
Yeah,
so
but that's the thing. You have to take the vision and you have to turn it into a brick by brick operation.
Right, like taking the steps, step by step. And so we had
unfortunately, we've been having too much fun. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm saying, okay, 10 more minutes, and it's a two-parter. So we'll have to cut you off here.
Okay.
But you are obviously not only more than welcome. I demand you come here back because there's so much we haven't covered.
Right, we didn't even talk about Paul Goldschmidt.
All right, let's talk. We haven't talked baseball.
BFF.
BFF. Well, let's save him for next time because that's a whole.
November,
That's a
you're
whole.
coming with your father.
Okay,
Well,
so
November your father comes.
Or
you can,
December.
You can
We'll find out.
Well, never mind. It will be our pleasure.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll be able to say something because I'm like. I mean,
Just
the
put
guy.
the mic.
I mean, just for the record, the guy when she says he still coaches, is not coaches like is Little League. He's in what is his position now in the Angels?
I think they call him catching coach.
Catching coach. He's a catching
Yeah.
coach. Which is
You
a
know
minor
something
thing.
about catching.
A minor
He knows
thing.
a few things.
Only the hardest defensive position in
Right.
the field. I mean, a minor thing. So the guys, he have to come here and we'll talk about. But one thing I have to ask you because during the WBC, the Twitter or whatever Peter has or the Facebook thing, he would post the lineup for the teams, and it was so beautifully written in Hebrew and in English. And then when I started looking at researching your dad, and the calligraphy just jumped at me, and I'm like, oh, now I know who this guy is. This is, and you're working in architecture, so apart from being in a baseball family, is there also an artistic streak? Is that like your other? A day she's a baseball fan, but at night she's like a crime chasing calligraphy artist. Where did you learn that?
Well, my aunt originally taught him, this one of his older sisters. She taught him how to do it, and he just picked it up. But yeah, we're creative. I don't know why, but like
why did she do that? What was the thing? Why did she? Because she liked it, or
I think she just picked it up because she liked it. We draw on that side of the family. Like so many of us draw, and we're mathy. My grandma was a calculus teacher, so we're mathy drawers. So we're like not like flaky artists. We're like designers.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know. So my aunt originally taught my dad calligraphy, and he just got really into it and picked it up, and now he's a serious calligrapher.
Yeah, and he does the foreign players are written in their Japanese or Chinese or Hebrew if ever happens.
Right.
I would try to find a really good high-res picture and put it as the picture of this show. But I mean, this has been a ball. I mean, Yoni is just. Yoni is sitting here just trying to think, maybe that's a favorite team and that's a favorite team.
Still trying
So
to
that
figure
was
it out.
really
One day I'll get there.
that was really fun.
Never
But
tell.
I mean, that was fun on itself. But I really appreciate you coming here all the way from Jerusalem.
Only for us.
Yeah, which is like halfway, not even halfway from your old home to Baltimore, and for us it's like across the country.
Right.
But we're gonna have to do it in the future because unlike baseball, we do have a clock and we do always know when time is up. And that is not before I will tell you which pitcher won all their games in one team. Was it Cy Young? Was it Christy Madison? Which was my choice? Was it Walter Johnson your choice or Pete Alexander, which Yoni took? And the winner is. Well, I told you made the right choice. It was Walter Johnson. 417 games with the Senators. Murchison went to the Reds. It's all over the place. We know Cy Young and others. So that was fun. Okay, Kali, this is... where are we? Okay. We will finish this in Hebrew. נסיים בזאת. ניתן למצוא אותנו באתר בייסבול פודקאסט co.il או ביוטיוב. youtube.com/strudel8kosher hotdog. תוכלו למצוא את הפודקאסט באפל פודקאסט, ספוטיפיי, בכל האפליקציות. דרגו אותנו, תנו לנו משוב, שמו לייק ופרגנו ב5 כוכבים. ככה הפודקאסט יקבל יותר חשיפה אצל כל חובבי הבייסבול שעדיין ישנם שם. תודה מיוחדת למפיק האחראי שלנו, חיים כץ. חיים כץ is our executive producer, and I always talk to him, and he apparently doesn't like the fun we're having at his expense. So he was said, I'm telling you nothing. And I'm like, please, Chaim, would you give us anything? And he said, well, short answer is no. I said, the long answer is no.
Alright. Okay, I'll give you one
Give
also.
you one of us, yes.
What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie? Sophisticated. You got it?
No.
Sophisticated.
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 Okay, that was a total disaster. Both sides of the aisle.
What's that?
תן להמשיך את הדיון בפייסבוק או באתר המאדרשיפ שלנו, הופסי אוהל. יוני, משהו לאומה לפני שסוף?
מזל טוב לאחותי היקרה והאהובה מאיה שחוגגת היום 50! אוהב אותך בלב.
לצנזר את ה-50? לשים פיפס? שלא ידעו?
לא.
אוקיי.
שידעו, הכל טוב.
תשמע,
50 זה ה-30 החדש.
I don't know, I grew up knowing you don't ask a lady her age, and all of a sudden all the ladies here is like, I'm 42, I'm 50. תודה לכם על ההאזנה לאי כושר הוטדוג עם יוני לב-ארי וארז שץ ובייסבול טוב ישראל.
יאללה ביי.
Swung on a drill to right field. Doing back Sanders on the track at the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! A home run!
אתה מוכן כאילו?
Yeah, I'm ready.
אוקיי. שלום וברוכים הבאים. אני אגב עושה את זה כי ככה אני יודע מתי להתחיל פשוט.
אוקיי.
אני פשוט מזיז את הוידאו. I'm moving the video until I see myself pointing,
Okay.
and then I start
זה
listening.
כמו בכדור קרן, שמרימים את היד לפני שמרימים את הקרן.
Alright.
יש קטע כזה?
No, never. But Napla Joy, who was 50 like in 1914, is also having a birthday today.
ג'פלנוי.
And we have this weird question that I'm going to ignore. And we have this other big question which I'm also going to ignore. And I'm going to... Oh, this is good.
אוקיי.
I mean, there was no way if we can know about Frank Howard's home run record in the Washington Senators 1961-97.
I don't know.
You know there was a Washington Senators,
Yes,
that's the thing.
yeah, definitely.
הייתה לי בדיחה באנגלית ואיבדתי אותה. אוקיי. אני לא מוצא מה... הייתה לי בדיחה... We have a joke, and I thought I'd said do it in English so you could laugh, but... or at least understand the humor. Well, no. קצת הפסיד כסף, פתח, כן, הוא פתח מכון הרזייה נזכרתי מה הייתה הבדיחה. אוקיי.
זה גם מצחיק.
כן, so anyway,